Alright, folks, so tonight's Raw is coming from the great city of Seattle, Washington. Here it is, the second day of October 2018. And this is the go home show before the Raw crew heads down to Australia for the Super Showdown. Now, we still have SmackDown. And before I go into the show, let me apologize for not doing a recap for last week. It's kind of funny. These days go by so fast when you're so busy that before you know it, Monday turns into Tuesday, Tuesday turns into Wednesday, and before you know it, the week has already passed you by, and you watched Raw on Monday night, Tuesday morning, and 2 days have passed by, and it's like, well, wow, should I really do a review on Raw here on Friday? So I'm going to try my best to get these out quicker, preferably Monday night, if not early Tuesday morning. So I'll try to keep on schedule a little bit better. So here we are, Seattle. Nice city. I've been there quite a few times as I've gone there for business. In fact, especially during the summer when the high is all of 70 plus degrees. And where I'm from, that's almost wintertime. But they have great seafood. Love their salmon. Love their king crabs. Wish I could be there right now. So the show starts and Dean Ambrose comes down to the ring. And I forget the lady's name. I apologize. She starts asking him a bunch of questions about the weeks from last week, the events of last week, where Ziggler and McIntyre tried to say, try to put a little, for lack of a better term, try to pry the shield from each other by talking about how Ambrose was out injured, had the staph infection, and how they moved on without him and didn't call him and what so. And he talks about that, and she asks us if he's gonna leave the Shield, and he says, "Well, I think about things all the time," and he starts talking about a bunch of stuff. Anyway, Baron Corbin comes out and says, "Well, you've got a choice. You can either have a match with Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental title, or you can have a match with Roman Reigns for the Universal title, or you can go against Braun Strowman." So, of course, Dean says, "Well, I'd rather just wrestle you directly." And then Baron Corbin says, "Okay, fine, Braun Strowman it is." So here we are, already into our first match. Dean Ambrose versus Braun Strowman. And it actually wasn't a bad match. Typically, when you have these guys, smaller guys going against Braun Strowman, it just doesn't look right. And they try their best, but it looks weird. Especially when you have somebody as small as Finn Balor going against Braun Strowman. But I have to say this match wasn't as bad as I thought it was. In fact, the entire night was a lot better and a lot of better well constructed than usual. And so these guys are going back and forth. And then Strowman is about to hit Dean Ambrose with a couple of power slams. And Roman Reigns comes out and immediately starts doing the Superman punch on Braun Strowman, causing the disqualification. At the same time, Seth Rollins comes in and helps out. So it wasn't a matter of, hey, let's see if Dean needs help. We're just going to immediately jump in and start beating up on Braun Strowman. And I couldn't help but notice that the audience really didn't like the ending here. In fact, while Braun Strowman's music was playing, you could visibly see people behind him doing a thumbs down booing. mean, we could have definitely had a better finish here. So, as Braun Strowman is going back up, Baron Corbin comes back out and says, okay, we're going to have a match between Ziggler and Reigns right now. So, as the match is about to start, Reigns gives the title to the referee and says, you know what? I want to put the title up for grabs. Then Baron Corbin goes, wait a second. This is not your show. This is my show. The title won't be up for grabs tonight or any other night until the show in Saudi Arabia between Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and Braun Strowman. Now, I get why they're saying this, because I made the complaint a few weeks ago, and maybe somebody at WWE heard me. Who knows? About how they're setting up these championship matches currently, but saying at the same time Roman Reigns is going to defend the championship in Saudi Arabia. So it kind of takes away the need to have championship matches now, because you know Roman Reigns is not going to lose. But at the same time, you just set up a championship match earlier when you said Dean Ambrose can have a championship match with Roman Reigns if he chooses. But when you have a match between Ziggler and Roman Reigns, and there's nothing for Ziggler to really go for here other than a typical win, I think it would have been just a little bit better for maybe the title to be up, for Ziggler to at least try and win something, get something out of this. But hey, the WWE Creative have already created their own mess, and they're trying their best to make things neat. But they've gone way past the point of no return. There's really nothing they can do that doesn't screw something else up. Their storylines are a house of cards. Anyway, the match between Roman Reigns and Ziggler is actually really, really good. In fact, I've always been impressed with Ziggler for years now. And I've complained that he was never really given a fair shot over the years. And so it's nice to see him being placed in high-level, high-quality matches with a lot of eyes. And once again, he pulled out an excellent show. Didn't win. Of course, you know, at the end, Roman Reigns gets the spear and gets the win. But the match didn't mean anything anyway. It wasn't like, you know, Ziggler gets a championship match after Saudi Arabia or anything. It was just a match. So anyway, we move on. And our next match is Ruby Riott versus Ronda Rousey. Now, I've stated before how the way you could have built up Ronda Rousey before she became champion was to have her kind of go through the women of the WWE. And that's what WWE is having her do now. Now that she's won the championship, they're going to have her go through the women of the WWE. And here we had Ruby Riott, who I have great respect for. I really like Ruby Riott. I think she's a talented wrestler. I think she's one of the best female wrestlers out there. I think she's highly unrepresented due to her talent and ability to control the ring. And if anybody really, really watched this match tonight, you can see just how much she controlled the match, and she covered the inexperience of Ronda Rousey. She actually made Ronda Rousey look halfway decent here. by her playing the heel and by her pretty much dominating the entire match, she did everything she could in order to make her look like the bad guy. She did all the, you know, evil moves or, try to get the crowd against her. And Ronda Rousey can only do so much. But it was nice to see Liv Morgan out there. Hopefully she's doing a lot better from getting knocked out from last week from the yes kicks from Brie Bella. I wasn't expecting to see her, but she was out there. She actually looked like she was had her wits together. But anyway, so Ruby Riott is out there and doing her thing. And we're leading up to the Super Showdown where it's a 6-man tag in Australia. So I was kind of hoping, since they got the win last week, they can pull out another win in order to have some momentum going into the weekend. But that wasn't to be, because just as Ruby is about to do her finishing move, I forget what it's called, Ronda Rousey hulks up, rips off her little t-shirt. Don't worry, guys, she had a sports bra still underneath. And then she goes into her, punching motion. Starts, doing her thing. And then she puts Ruby Riott into the armbar for the win. Like I said, I really want to see Ruby Riott and her, and it doesn't have to be the entire squad, but specifically her. I want her to get a little bit more attention from the WWE. She needs to be put in some type of title picture. And maybe, since the women have a championship belt, maybe we can have a women's Intercontinental title or U.S. title, one of the other titles, so we can give some of the ladies out here something. Because pretty much the championship titles is going to be Ronda Rousey on Raw and Charlotte Flair in some way, shape, or form on SmackDown. We need something for the other ladies. So if somebody out there in WWE land, creative, is listening out there, let's create some more titles for these ladies. So, next match, and what seems like the 5th week in a row, we have Bobby Roode versus Connor from the Ascension. Now, for those keeping count, I swear this is like the 5th week in a row we've seen a match with the Ascension. Now, I don't want to officially complain, but it's going to sound like one. Because the Ascension has been in the WWE for a few years now, and they've been vastly underutilized. So it's very refreshing to see these guys being used in some way, shape, or form that wasn't comedic with Fandango and Tyler Breeze. By the way, where the heck is Tyler Breeze? I haven't seen them in a while. Sorry. It's kind of late. Had a long day. So these guys are kind of given a spotlight here for the past 5 weeks. And last week we had Chad Gable versus Connor. And Connor basically decimates Chad Gable for the win. But here we are once again, another week between these two groups. If we're gonna push the Ascension, we need them to go against a few other guys and get some wins here, not just the same team over and over. Anyway, it's Connor versus Bobby Roode, and golly, how far has Bobby Roode dropped? He must have pissed somebody off. But maybe we'll hear more about that later through the grapevine. So this match is, they go back and forth, and eventually Bobby Roode is about to pull the glorious DDT on Connor. But then Victor attacks Chad Gable outside of the ring, distracts Bobby Roode. and which Connor takes advantage and gets the win. So Connor has won 2 weeks in a row, where Victor lost 2 weeks in a row. But my question here is, where is this leading? Is this leading to the Super Show, or is this going to lead to another tag team match next week? I mean, how many times are we going to go back and forth between these 4 guys? It's not moving forward. It's not telling me anything. So, after that match, we have the B Team versus the Revival. Now, the Revival just lost to... They had their match against Ziggler and McIntyre. They just lost to them, I believe, last week or 2 weeks ago. And now they're going against the B Team. Somebody out there in WWE Creative just doesn't know what to do with the tag team division, as these matches are being put together haphazardly and they make no sense whatsoever. And I think I've made it pretty clear, I'm not the biggest fan of the B Team. Now, I like them as performers. Don't get me wrong there. But I don't like the music. I don't like the whole B Team, go, go, go. I did like the little slapsticky thing for a little while, but it's run its course. I really wanted them to be a decent team and have decent matches. But I really, 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 really don't like that whole go, go, go thing. That does it for me. I'm done. But in the end, they win. The B Team wins. And as they're walking up the ramp, and this goes into another pet peeve of mine, they're walking up the ramp, but the way the camera is angled, you can't see up the ramp. You can only see off to the side. But lo and behold, right behind them, the Authors of Pain comes out and puts the beat down on the B Team. Now, I don't understand why WWE likes to do these camera angles where somebody comes out of nowhere to get the attack, and it looks like it's just all of a sudden. But everybody in the audience that's at the event can see these things happening a mile away, because these guys have to come out and run up to them. So, like I said, you see these things happening. And we got to see these things in the past, so I don't know why they change these all the time. But they do these in the matches as well, where somebody is in a ring and they're fighting, and they move the camera to where somebody else is just outside the camera shot, and they come in and get a quick hit or whatever. But they've been sitting there pacing themselves for the hit all the time. Perfect example is RKO, when he wants to RKO somebody out of nowhere. If you're in the audience, you see him sitting there for 10 minutes before he runs in. But on TV, we don't see him at all, and all of a sudden, RKO out of nowhere. Come on, guys. Let the audience see the stuff what's going on. It doesn't make the show any less. So we go backstage, and we see Seth Rollins talking with Dean Ambrose. And Dean Ambrose says something he would have been a great Intercontinental Champion, and walks off. Okay, whatever. And then we see another segment where he's talking with Roman and said he would have been a great Universal Champion. So I don't know if he's alluding that he is regretting picking either one of those for a match. But we know that wasn't going to happen, because obviously there's not going to be any championship matches until after Saudi Arabia. But we also come to another segment where we see Strowman, Ziggler, and McIntyre in the back. And Braun Strowman says, "Hey, we don't need any weak links in this group." And he looks right at Ziggler after his loss. And then he slowly walks away. I kind of like that. That was pretty cool. When we come to our next match, it's Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. And I have to say, that was the match of the night. It was a very good match. Golly, Drew McIntyre is a huge guy. But Seth Rollins, he can work with anybody. That guy is just a master of the ring. And those guys were just, taking each other apart, having a very good match, going back and forth. And then Seth is about to pull the curb stomp. And of course, Ziggler comes in, slides in the ring, and slides back out. And Drew McIntyre gets the Claymore on Seth Rollins for the win. And then Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose comes out with the axe handle. And they still get taken out by Ziggler, McIntyre, and Strowman. Shield's not looking too powerful here. So, what I thought was close to being the end of the night, we actually have a few more things going on here. Next, we have Elias and Kevin Owens in the middle of the ring. And, in all the years I've watched guys in the ring try and work the crowd, obviously if you're a face, you say, oh, I love it here in blah, blah, blahville and blah, blah, blah state. And the crowd loves you. And if you want to be a heel, you go, hey, I hate this town. And then the crowd hates you. And then if you really want the crowd to hate you, you say something that the locals are very sensitive about. And Elias hit the nail on the head today, and it was awesome. He goes, yeah, I don't like Seattle. And this town is so bad, even your basketball team left. Referring to the Seattle Supersonics. And when I say that the heat he drew from that audience was nuclear, they booed so loud. And I'm not saying just for a couple of minutes. They booed for the entire rest of the segment, to the point where Elias and Kevin Owens had to yell the rest of their promo. They basically had to scream. They had to say, hey guys, we need our mics turned up because we can't hear ourselves because the crowd was so loud. That was insane. I was surprised there weren't cups and stuff thrown in the ring, because those folks were loud, very sensitive. They love their Supersonics. So anyway, as they cut their promo versus John Cena and Bobby Lashley for the Super Showdown, little man, Lio Rush comes out and says, oh, Cena's a legend. And Kevin, you need to watch out for your upcoming match with Bobby Lashley. So who comes out? Bobby Lashley. And they have a match. And it wasn't bad. I've never been a big fan of Bobby Lashley. He's a big guy, incredibly athletic. But for some reason, when I watch his matches, he just looks like he's just going through the motions. But Kevin Owens, I am a huge fan of his since NXT. And he has good matches. I don't think I've ever seen him in a bad match. Maybe except that one against Braun Strowman, but we'll talk about that another time. Anyway, these two have a good match. So, and Lashley is about to get the win, but Elias goes after Lio Rush. And once again, it seems to be a theme where all these matches, somebody's about to win, the opposite person on the other side attacks somebody, distracting them, and that person gets the win. So this happened here. Elias attacks Lio Rush, and then Kevin Owens rolls up Bobby for the win. But the thing that I got here was they had mentioned John Cena's name so many times that as they were, at the end of the match, I was expecting John Cena to come out to promote the Super Showdown. It's only happening a couple days away. It's happening this Saturday. And it's going to be early in the morning. It's going to be 5 in the morning here in East Coast. I feel sorry for anybody who's watching on the West Coast. Or even worse, maybe in the Mountain or Central Time Zone. That's, woo! See, I can get up at 5 in the morning and watch the show. I can go back to bed. But to get up at 2 or 3, that's just wrong. So, we're getting close to the end of the night here. And we have a quick match between Alicia Fox and Bayley. It was a quick 2-second match. But Alicia Fox actually looks like she's getting used to wrestling out there. She has some pretty good moves out there. But, Bayley gets the upper hand. And once again, somebody tries to interfere. Jinder Mahal. But it doesn't work this time. Bayley gets the win with the Bayley to Bayley suplex. That's it. Literally, the match was even 5 minutes. So, we come to the end of the show where Shawn Michaels comes out and talks about the match last time ever between The Undertaker and Triple H in Melbourne, Australia. And he knows his buddy Triple H is going to get the win. And we know that Kane is going to be down there at The Undertaker's side. So Shawn Michaels says, "Hey, Kane, if you decide you want to be involved, I have no problem getting involved too. With some sweet chin music." Now, as soon as he says that, all of a sudden we hear the Kane music and the lights go red. Shawn looks towards the ramp, and lo and behold, who's behind him? Kane. Kane gets a quick hit. And then all of a sudden we hear the gongs. And we know what that means. The Undertaker's nearby. Lights go out, comes back up, and lo and behold, the Undertaker's in the ring with Kane. And there's Shawn Michaels on the ground, writhing in pain. And they're about to pick him up and give him a tombstone. But lo and behold, who shows up? Triple H comes down, starts to fight between Undertaker and Kane. But of course, it doesn't last too long. And he and Shawn Michaels end up getting chokeslammed at the same time by both Kane and Undertaker, respectively. Then Undertaker's about to walk out of the ring, and he stops and changes his mind and comes back in. Picks up Triple H and gives him the tombstone piledriver. Something we haven't seen in a while. Something that's usually not allowed. But he's one of the guys that knows how to do it and do it right. And Kane and Undertaker leave the ring, walk up the ramp. End of show. Now, I have to say, for a go-home match for an upcoming pay-per-view, the Super Showdown, it wasn't a bad show. They're telling us, hey, we want you guys to watch our show in Australia. Regardless of what time it's playing in America, we want you to watch the show. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch the show. I'm going to watch the Super Showdown in Melbourne, Australia. And I might even, and let me know if you guys want me to do this, and post it in the comments below or give a thumbs up. I might even do a live, either live podcast during the show or a live podcast giving my reaction after the show. Let me know what you guys would like to hear. Because, hey, if it's a 3-hour show and it starts at 5, that's 8 in the morning. I can just click on the live button on YouTube and have at it. We can talk about it, especially if you guys saw it. You guys can let me know how you feel if you watched the show. If you got up that early to watch it with me. Like I said, post in the comments below. Let me know what you think. But in the meantime, tell me what you think about this show. Did you like Raw? Did you think it was a halfway decent show? No, let me know. If I were to give it a grade, I'd give it a solid C+. Maybe even a B-. But anyway, we have SmackDown tonight as they promote the Super Showdown as well. And then I'll give my predictions on Wednesday or Thursday. More likely Wednesday of the upcoming pay-per-view. But anyway, like I said, post in the comments below. If you like what you heard, hit that like button. And if you want to hear more of my ramblings when it comes to things WWE or whatever else is going on, hit that subscribe button and you can hit that notification button. And YouTube will sometimes let you know when I post something new. Anyway, that's it for me for tonight. It's late, and I have work in the morning. So until next time, peace.